In our greenhouse, we grow over 500,000 plants with this machine.
Hello, everybody. We got quite a crew here today.
That's what I was saying.
We got the 18.
Hold up, before you see this, we need to start from the beginning.
So it all starts out with our 512 seed trays. This is a special seedling soil that's a lot finer than what we use for like our pots after we transplant these into whether it's 6-packs or 4.5-inch pots or 6.5-inch pots. So then I'll just basically go over it, feather it out with my hands, get all the soil off of the edges. And now that everything's flat, we're ready to move on to the next step, where I'll take my handy dandy impression maker for the soil. I don't know the exact name for it. And I'll kind of just make a little indentation. On average, they want to be like 1/8 to, and a quarter is quite a bit, but 1/8 to 1/4 inch deep. Then I'll set it into my tray holder. And I'm ready to go. So this is what I was holding at the beginning of the video. This is called an easy seeder. I'll have a link in the description below. So if you get the whole setup, it comes with the vacuum and then a hose and then obviously this tray here. And then I'm not 100% positive because this is older, but I don't know if you can purchase these separate, but then you can get different size trays with different size holes. Well, actually same size trays with different size holes, so that if you're doing a bigger seed, you can use a bigger tray. If you're using a smaller seed, you can use a smaller tray. For the most part, I'm almost always using this more fine hold tray because a lot of my seeds are smaller. But the problem with that is, you can see how small they are. They easily clog up if you get any kind of dirt on there. So I have to watch. Sometimes I'll have to go over to the air compressor and blow it out, or I'll have a little needle there and I'll poke it out. But the first thing I have to do is pull my packet of seeds out, which is the Portulaca Happy Hour mix, okay? Certain ones come in little baggies. This one happens to come in a nice container. And so what I'll do is I'll open it up and then I'll kind of just take a look at the sides of the seeds that are in there. So that seed is pretty big for these smaller holes. So all I have to do is just pull it up out of there. There's only just a little rubber seal there. Take my bigger tray and I will pop it right back in there. So now that that's in, we're ready to go. I have marked on the center just so I know in case I'm only doing a half flat or something. So then what I'll do is I'll turn my vacuum on. And we even went as far as to put a valve on here so that way I can cut off the suction if I want to. You can hear the sound in the vacuum when I do that. So sometimes, especially like when you're using that smaller hold one, if you have full suction, it'll actually suck that tray down in because it's so thin. So right now I don't need the full suction. I'll put it on, I'll take a little bit off of it, and now I'll take my seeds and I'll just kind of sprinkle them on there, like so. I'll just put them all on for now. And then what I'll do is I'll kind of just shake this around. And you can start to see now all those holes are filling up. These seeds happen to be pelleted, so this makes it a lot easier for me to fill the whole tray and not have doubles on there. Like that one really shouldn't be there. But once it's full, which it almost is, so now it looks like, besides that one right there, I have every hole filled now. Give it a little bit of a tap to drop everything down. You can see all the extra ones right here on the bottom. All I'll do is, actually, there's one right here. If one's out of place, I'll just take my tweezers and set it on there. So now these extra, I'll take my container, open it back up, kind of cut my fingers a little bit. So now that all my holes are filled, I'll bring it over to this holder here, and you can see there's even little rubber seals on this. And what's going to happen is the lip of this tray is going to sit right on this lip right here. So I'll kind of do it gently to make sure all those seeds don't fall off. set it down in just like that. So I'll cut the vacuum, pound it out a little bit, and only one stuck, which ain't real bad. So then you can see that just about every single hole is filled perfect. Sometimes we'll have one bounce out of one cell into the other. That's pretty rare though, but for the most part, this tray is perfect. So now that that's done, I'll gently pull my tray back out of the holder. It'll come over here into our seed room where it'll get covered with vermiculite. Which that is this stuff right here. It acts as just a cover to cover the seed, and it also, these things are like little sponges, and so they absorb the water and they keep the dirt more wet than just that regular soil. But you want to do a nice even fill across the whole thing. You don't want one section to be heavier and one section to be lighter, because then what's going to happen is you'll have seeds coming up at different times, and when you go to plant, they won't all be ready. So then once the seedlings start coming out of the soil and they get to about a 1/4 inch high, what we'll then do is we'll bring them out into the big house here where it's a little bit cooler, they don't have to stay so warm, and we'll let them grow to usually about 1 inch to 1.5 inches high. These are tomatoes. Now these get a little bit higher than normal, but when you can take and you can pull that seedling out of there and you have a nice rectangular root system and the roots are filled throughout the whole cell, then it's ready to transplant.
So over here is my dad in the green. My mom is in the red, working with the hanging baskets. Over here on the other side is my pap in the gray, my gram sitting next to him in the blue, and my Aunt Kathy sitting across from her in blue as well. So right now what they're all doing is transplanting. My pap is working on impatiens, and you can see how kind of tedious of a job it is, but it's something that takes time and takes patience, but it's very satisfying after you're done. So how it works is we'll take that poker that my Aunt Kathy is using right now and poke holes, whether it's in the 4-packs or 6-packs that we need, and then they can take wherever they're planting and plant it into them holes without taking the time to poke every single hole by hand. It's a beautiful day out, but it's starting to melt the snow. It's probably about 45 degrees. Now everything's getting slushy, and I'm getting water in my Crocs. So to keep those guys rolling planting, we need to have soil at the ready. So what my dad's doing here is opening up our bales and getting them ready to bust up. While dad's getting ready, mom's over here at the soil pile that we already have, putting our black trays in the bottom of our hanging baskets so that whatever she plants in them can drain properly.
Mix both of them in?
I would.
They're both, even the one that's open is the same thing, right?
Yeah. Boy, when you have a crew like this, who needs machines? Mom's over here planting hanging basket tomatoes. These are a great tomato if you want to hang on your front porch. They don't get huge, but they're also bigger than a cherry tomato. They're just nice if you want to slice them and put them on a sandwich, or you can eat them raw, whatever you would like.
I actually get a lot of comments about my Crocs. Some people say that, you know, real farmers don't wear Crocs. You should be wearing boots, it's not safe, all that. But I'll tell you one thing. Actually, I'm gonna tell you a couple things. My feet sweat extremely bad. So Crocs, and I kind of say it as a joke, but I'm serious, allow proper airflow. I mean, with all those holes, your feet really can't sweat. And another thing is I'm always either walking in dirt, or it's extremely hot, or it's wet. And I don't like to wear boots, they're too hot. I am around heavy equipment, I guess like tractors and stuff, but I'm not really afraid of getting my toes ran over. And I hate when dirt goes in my shoes, because I usually wear shoes if I'm not wearing Crocs. I hate when dirt goes in my shoes, and I hate when my shoes get wet, because then for the rest of the day, you've got a wet foot, or you've got dirt in your shoes, or like you got dirt in your socks, whatever. I hate all that. So Crocs are the absolute perfect shoe wear to wear when you are on the farm, in my opinion. Now my dad, he still wears boots. My mom wears Crocs and shoes and flip-flops and boots, whatever she needs to, but almost exclusively I wear Crocs day after day.
Now Dad's got that soil busted up, and he actually watered it a little bit because it's good to have some moisture in your soil. So what he's got going on now is he turned on the soil buster, and he's shoveling that soil into the buster. It's kind of a mixture of wet soil and dry soil, kind of have just a good, even, nice moisture level. And then once you come around the backside here, you will see that this thing is small but mighty. I mean, this thing can eat through dirt like you've never seen before. Just look at the massive engine on this thing and the speed of that belt spinning around. That soil coming out of there is like precious gold.
Today is just such a great day because there's so many people here and there's so many people I can video. The problem is a lot of my family is kind of shy to be on camera, and even I still am shy to be on camera sometimes. So it's like, I understand where they're coming from, but just kind of bear with me. They're not talking a lot just because they're nervous, but they're very happy, friendly people, and they can definitely talk a lot, I can tell you that for sure.
These must be upset wise.
Yeah, you need to get hands up and hold it first.
After they're done filling the flat with whatever variety they just planted, they'll then go through with tags and place one in each pack so that when the customer buys it, they know exactly what they're getting.
Oh my goodness,
Get that out of your
I
head.
can't get it out of my head.
So then after the flats are completely finished, they'll get brought over here to these tables where they will get taken care of for the next couple weeks with lots of tender love and care until they're ready to be sold.
So I got done seating in the other greenhouse, I came over and everybody's gone. The only thing that's left here is about a quarter of a bag of what looks like Cheetos. Or no, cheese puffs, sorry.